Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity bottom right hand corner. We've got Pauline starting as the magenta, Zerg bottom left hand corner, Dentarg as the industrial gray Protoss. They did actually do the color thing for me here, but I'm going to leave it the original player colors as a reward, a treat. No, I'm not sure that anybody aside from maybe white would be really concerned about what their official color is. This is going to be on Polestar, by the way. Classic PvZ. Pauline being very, very difficult to kill in the previous matchup, and Dentarg almost fumbling it, honestly. He did manage to get that third up eventually. Did have a massive supply lead at multiple points. I'm wondering if Pauline is going to play a little bit more conservatively given the nature of the previous match, or if he is in fact going to once again play it a little bit crazy. So we saw an odd build game one, a very, very, what do I want to say, optimistic hatchery placement game two. Dentarg able to pounce right on top of it. And I'll also be interested to see if Dentarg is going to attempt that very fast Zealot +1 off 3-gate build again in this matchup. He is opening up Gateway first. Overlord's going to get first scout here for Pauline, and it looks like that probe is headed top left. In the meantime, overpool for Pauline in the space of this. Also be interested to see if Pauline decides to go aggressive Zergling counts in the early stages into heavy drone. It looks like he is trying to establish a macro foothold in many instances for himself. Drone scouting should draw back fairly quickly as he's able to sidle in and confirm that gateway on the edge. Always like to see, like, what's the reaction time? There, he's got it. Drawing it back. Probe kind of hiding just in case. Making its way back out. Now, next question is this going to be 3 hatch before gas? That is more typical these days. But it looks like that drone not going to wander its way out until there are probes to provide additional information. Overlord making its way, and that does reveal Dentarg with a nice adjustment, recognizing the Overlord is in full view. So he can make his way bottom right to confirm. Sees the hatchery mutating, so might want to hold that Zealot back. But it looks like he is going to dedicate it forward regardless. That was an interesting play. Probe kind of hiding in the corner and then making its way back out. 6 Zerglings also making the way out in the field. And the Zealot's actually going to hold tight and go ahead and blockade that wall. Probe trying to confirm the location of the third hatchery, which makes sense considering the previous match. Not there to interrupt it, but is in fact going to get eyeballs on the location. The Zergling's not in time to get an additional SWAT. Forge also placed. Pauline going to go ahead and readjust the position. We do have an extractor plop down round, I think that was 240. Given the timing of all this. Now let's see, is it going to be instant? So we got the Nexus on the way. We got the Forge on the way. Probe is being pushed back. The Zergling's kind of waiting to respond. Another probe making its way out. The Overlord spotted it. That was very heads up of Pauline actually to leave these Zerglings in reserve in no man's land to try to deny scouting information. Is he just going to hold on the ramp here? Or is he going to invite? Is he going for the probe trap? Probe is going to be able to wander up, see that there's only a single drone spotting right there, and gets through. And also saw some additional Zerglings spawn, but does get wiped out otherwise. Again, 10 Zerglings here to start, cutting into the early game worker count slightly. And Probe just dashing away. Before the third hatchery's up, we do have a tech to layer. And I'm expecting maybe something more typical here for Pauline. Granted, the fast Citadel of Adune's out leg speed play off 3-gate worked really well for Dentarg last map, but I think it would be risky to try to throw that build out a third time, especially considering how diligent Pauline's been in maintaining the scouting. And he's going to be in a very uncomfortable position where he hasn't been able to confirm whether there's a layer or not. And so he might, if he does go for the 3-gateway play, feel like he would be a little bit less comfortable doing so. +1 weapons queued up in the space of this. Waiting to see if, now that the Citadel is up, if he is in fact going to drop that Citadel of Adune. Meantime, layer just about finished. Zerglings look like they're going to go top right to, they should be able to cut off that probe because the probe went a little bit too deep, which means that ramp can get blocked. That should be the end of that probe's life as long as Pauline is diligent about it. Yeah, they're all gonna gather up. Goodbye, probe. Sorry. Nice knowing ya. 3 o'clock base starting to get mining there, and we do have enough. We have enough minerals, and it is the Citadel of Adun again. Zealots initially peeking out and then drawing back. Pauline should be a little bit nervous. It looks like he's going 3-hatch Spire. I presume this is going to be more standard 4-hatch play in the space of this. And I think Dentarg's build does operate fairly well. Dragoon has been built as well. That's interesting. Are we going to go +1 4-gate Goon instead of Zealot leg speed, or Zealot leg speed? Never mind, we do have Zealot leg speed queued up. Single Dragoon in the mix, maybe to deny additional scouting information. And Pauline pumping the drones in the midst of this to go ahead and equalize the worker count. Probe sees, yeah, the pretty solid Zealot count in the space of this. So Spire just about finished. 4th hatchery gonna plop out here on the front. So this is looking more Zerg typical. Looks like it's going to be a 5th hatchery though, rather than some of the fill-in tech or any Mutalisks or Hydralisk Den productions. The Hydra Den going to go out in the front. This could be really vulnerable depending on the timing of all this. If Dentarg goes now, he might be able to snipe that Hydralisk Den before there's really a lot of support at the natural expansion. Creep colony getting dropped. Egg is getting opened up. It'll be a little while before +1 weapons finish, but Zealot leg speed is going to be complete momentarily. This is looking really good for Dentarg, actually. Zergling has been popped. These Zerglings completely out of position. The Sunken colony is going to finish, but it's only going to be a single Sunken. Lurker tech is queued up, but we don't have a lot of Hydralisks that have fanned in. 3rd base getting checked first. And this, again, this is a very exposed Hydralisk Den along that corner. The Zergling's trying to fan out. The Zealot's marching all the way around. Zealot's able to pounce on top of that Sunken colony fairly rapidly. Decent drone drill here in the back corner. And the Zealot's having a lot of trouble in the drone line. That was 4 Zealots dispatched by mostly just drones and a few Zerglings. So an excellent drone drill there from Pauline. And Dentarg's attack just getting absolutely squashed. That should have, honestly, that should have gone a lot worse. Never mind, maybe I missed this. A couple Zealots had peeled back to the 3 o'clock, but there was already a Sunken colony there. Zergling's also getting the cleanup there, and I don't think Pauline, he might have lost a drone or 2, but didn't lose the Hydralisk Den, lost a Sunken. That's definitely worth it to have everything wiped out in that build order. You basically wiped out your opponent's army. You've got a soft contained scenario. You can just tech and drone from here. And on top of that, that's going to be a long time before Dentarg's going to feel comfortable grabbing a 3rd. Also, complete lack of scouting information. He doesn't know if he's getting all-in on our counterattack or not. So we'll see how Pauline plays it from here. He has surged in the drone count. Corsair still hasn't moved out. Looks like it's, wow, we got double Stargate follow-up to try to compensate. Wants to try to kill, so I feel like this is sort of like the, I mean, DTs were the old Protoss emergency slam it button. I feel like this is the new emergency Protoss slam it button, is to go two Stargate Sair and then just hope that the Zerg under prepares for a fleet. And in that instance, you just swat all the overlords down and it doesn't matter how strong their economy is, they just can't build anything. We do have a Lurker that took a few shots, gonna go ahead and burrow there to the corner. In range to pop the gateway, but I don't think it's in range to deal with anything else. A Dark Templar, speaking of the Dark Templar button, Dark Templar going to be able to kill these Zerglings easily here on the front. Man, just an absolute feast for him. Finally, recognition there from Pauline, going to draw them back. But instead going to go grab top right. Here, the Corsair is starting to move out. We have an Archon just in case there was a counterattack of Mutalisks in the midst of this. Hive tech here for Pauline. We have 3 exposed overlords in the main. A lot of lurkers have been built, but not a lot of Hydralisks. So this could be dicey here. Yeah, and it's just been Zerglings. as well. Also keep in mind that DT wipes out that Overlord. That Dark Templar is going to have a field day. Some Overlords. Scourge are queued up here. Is this going to be a... What? Okay, an Overlord spawned, and that was a real bit of luck there for Pauline. He was... An Overlord spawned just in time, and with the Sunken Colony able to wipe out that DT. Didn't lose a drone. He should have... That should have been a lot worse than what it was. Also has some Zerglings top right. This is reminiscent of previous match, but it looks like he's going to be in better scenario. Spore Colony to detect here on the front. Dentarg moving out with another sizable army once again, but this is right as Pauline is hitting his stride. He's supply blocked briefly, but it shouldn't last very long, and should be able to get a lot of units up, and he's pretty well boxed in. Top right is somewhat vulnerable just because of the distance. Is there an observer alongside this? I don't think there's an observer in the midst of this either. So some lurkers, yeah, just need to burrow. Okay, the observer lagging behind this, but could easily get picked off. Corsair trying to move up and push the Overlords back to keep that observer in a little bit better scenario, but this is giving Pauline time to construct a defense right now. Dentarg has a sizable supply lead. I hope he keeps that threat out there, and in the midst of having this threat, goes ahead and grabs an additional base because he needs to in a hurry, because I don't think he's going to bust at any location. Pauline's starting to move away as far as tech and macro, and he needs to make sure he establishes a third quickly, or he needs to just hammer something and win from there, and I just don't see that happening with the current configuration. By the way, we do have double evolution chamber in the midst of this. Archon getting isolated away by Zerglings. Not... It gets popped, which is something. We also have an opportunity of a Mutalisk swap, by the way, keep in mind. Corsair have spotted top right, picked off the Overlord here. A bunch of creep colonies getting dropped. I really like that Pauline does this, actually. The Zerglings trailing top right. This could be a sizable win, but it's only a sizable win if Dentarg's able to secure his third. Going a little bit too deep, too rapidly. So the Lurkers able to, and the Zerglings able to hold a lot of those troops to the line. The Observers are out of position to provide support. And now all of a sudden, Dentarg donated, just being impatient, donated his army top right. And is just now dropping his third. Let's see if the Corsairs survive. Looks like the Scourge are going to end up missing the Corsair in movement. But even with Dentarg grabbing this third base, if it would maybe benefit him to grab the 6 o'clock as well, as quickly as possible, and just maybe hope to cannon up, because we're going up against Hive Tech, and this is 4-hatch. This is very shortly going to be 4-hatch Zerg with a Nidus Canal to transfer a lot, and that's going to be a lot of economy to work with. Zerglings are adrenal upgraded, sprinting here bottom left, not in sufficient numbers as of yet to punch through, but enough to provide a threat. Overlord is going to get swatted out of the air by the Corsair at the 9 o'clock, to at least provide a lack of vision. But we're going to need some High Templar, some Reavers, etc. We do have a shuttle already up for Dentarg. He's definitely going to need to invest in some drops. He needs to shell up, get some of those High Templar drops, dropping across the drone line to really equalize things. Defiler Mound, in the meantime, is up. Consume being upgraded. It looks like Dentarg was thinking about grabbing a 4th at the 9 o'clock, but currently getting boxed out of it briefly by these Zerglings. The Zerglings chewing through the Zealots, but it's the entirety of Dentarg's army moving up to that position, so it looks like he is going to be able to bully his way through. Wise play here from Dentarg, and he saved the probe. Is the probe going to draw back now is the next question. He needs to get that up and established in a hurry. Top right is already paying dividends here for Pauline. Tacking down some macro hatches. Probe having some trouble getting past that army to go ahead and secure that 9 o'clock. Pauline also scouting the rest of the bases just in case. Corsair moving their way back out. Are going to catch some Overlords. No +1 weapons. There are Scourge behind. The Scourge being very lazy though and going to supply block Pauline. Every little bit helps Dentarg. That's going to be 5 Overlords down and a massive supply cap. Oh, got the shuttle that was coming across, which was a big hit. A little bit lazy. I don't think any of those landed. More Scourge making the way across. This is an opportunity for Dentarg to sneak back into this. Unfortunately, the army a little bit late, and that should be enough for the Zerglings to clear out that 9 o'clock. Oh, man. Forcing a cancellation. The probe is still in position, though, so can redrop. So only a little bit of lost resources. This is a lot of Scourge. Looking to deal with those Corsair. Pauline is equalized in supply, which is a scary scenario. How are we looking at upgrades? +2 weapons, +2, +1, +2. See if I can find a lurker. +0, so no spines damage upgrades. These Scourge are in mass. I think that might have been a misclick here for Pauline, a little bit of an overinvestment. That's actually a significant amount of his supply in Scourge. Maybe he just wants to make absolutely sure that no shuttle is going to make its way across the 6 o'clock, but that's a huge amount of gas. Scourge are gas expensive. That's a lot right there. Zealots checking to make sure the nearby expansion's not being grabbed. Dentarg looking for an assault here. I believe, so Plague is not yet complete. We do have Dark Swarm. I think Dentarg spotting that that's up, looking for to reposition. Corsair are seeing that hatchery getting dropped top right. Dentarg repositioning to make his way top right. Needs to be a little bit careful doing this, because when you're playing for late game Protoss, if Zerg is able to counterattack, we do have some Zerglings making their way to 9 o'clock. He knows Scourge are out as well. Is going to be able to deny that base, which is great, but can't afford to get caught out of position in the space of this. And I think I was missing that Scarab upgrade damage. It looks very similar to the Plague upgrade aspect. High Templar getting picked off by Zerglings. That's 2 of them down. That was a lot of Sidestorm lost as well. Dentarg holds, though, equalized on supply right the second. We have a, I like this, robotics facility in place. Reaver building at the 9 o'clock. We have another Reaver at the natural expansion. So Dentarg already in a good spot to play towards the late game. Might want to even bully his way around. Yeah, just as he's got to bully his way around, avoid Plague somehow, and try to get some decent trades. Keep the hatchery count low. Pauline near maxed. Is he gonna get drop as well? Like he's got Flyer Carapace upgrading, which leads me to believe he might be thinking about it. Zerglings checking top right. We do have cannons opening up the front a little bit here for Dentarg. Another shuttle constructing. This could be disaster if he puts the Reaver and the High Templar in the shuttle and tries to go here to the south. In the meantime, what was going to be an attack, potentially at the 9 o'clock to swat that hatchery, is going to be halted early, but a decent Plague lands on the Zealots to soften them up. Okay, let's see if the shuttle is going to be 2 Reavers. Are they going to go? This could be disaster. Defiler getting pushed back. Just a stream of units making their way top left in the space of this. Oh, this poor shuttle. I worry about its fate. Sidestorm getting expended en masse. Unfortunately for Dentarg, yeah, the Sidestorm not being as fight, and the Dragoons actually getting pinned back. The Zerglings clearing out everything here. Is that shuttle still here? Yeah, I'm trying to keep an eye on it. And a lot of Dentarg losing a lot of army. Pauline all of a sudden up a massive amount of supply. The Sidestorms, the initial one whiffing, the second one at least able to clear up some of these Zerglings. But with that army taken off the field, Pauline can easily expand and maybe even go bonus here if he wants. Is the shuttle away? I might have missed the shuttle dying out here on the field. Unless it's moving to the north. Okay, it did move to the north. Whew, okay. I'm gonna keep that clicked here so I can draw back to it if I need to. Looks like he's trying to migrate some Reavers where they might be needed to deal with these Zerglings. Already 2 Reavers there at the 9 o'clock. And yeah, the Reaver's gonna plant right there at the in-between base. Zerglings filtering in, but the Sidestorm and the Reaver is able to clear them out. Double checking top left to make sure that wasn't getting grabbed. A Zealot, by the way, camped out in between. Some Scourge died here at the 6 o'clock, so I think the Corsair might have made their way that direction and cleared things out. Overlord spreading every which way to try to get vision here for Pauline. And Pauline also gonna make his way out on the map and grab things. It looks like we got a long-term macro-oriented game More Scourge filled. So, wow. Even more Scourge making the way here to the 6 o'clock. How are we doing weapons upgrade? +2, level 3. Level 1 right there. Looks like some observers getting picked off mid-map. 3-3 on the Zerglings. We could see some Ultralisks in this game, honestly. I don't know that it would be all that effective. Pauline, right now, so Dentarg needs to just grind this down and out, which means he needs to have fantastic Psy Storms. Needs to keep a lot of minerals in the bank for Reaver Scarabs. And Pauline just needs to smother him at this stage, make sure he stays locked in bottom. He doesn't even need to get all that effective trades, just need to make sure he's trading and making sure he's not grabbing anything additional. And also needs to make sure that no shuttle kind of sneaks out. Looks like that army's been spotted mid-map. Pauline can start hunting now. And it looks like he is opting to do that with the Zerglings. That plus the Adrenal upgrade, plus Plagues if he can land it is huge. Pushing into the 6 o'clock base. The Scourge are they might be able to suicide on that shuttle. Looks like they're just gonna flee for right this second. A counterattack of Zerglings grouping up to maybe dive at the 9 o'clock, but we've got a bunch of Psystorm and 4 Reavers, so I don't think that's going to be a lock. Dentarg doing what he needs to lock this game. Looks like rather than going, oh, this is unfortunate, rather than going into the 9 o'clock, they're going into the 8 o'clock position. Dentarg caught off guard, trying to draw back, but I don't know that this is going to be in time. The Zerglings, if they group attack, yeah, should be able to wipe that Nexus out. That's 400 resources down the drain. You can see once the Reavers get there, they're able to pop the Zerglings pretty rapidly, but losing that Nexus is huge. 6 o'clock base attempting to get established here. We have some Guardians morphing. Oh, to maybe do an assault at the 6 o'clock. Do we have any additional Corsair? I guess we only have the Dragoons and the Archons. That could be very, very effective. And I don't see any Psystorm. Okay, how much Psystorm? We got one. Okay, we got several Psystorm to make that work. Lurkers need to burrow in the gap in the meantime. Dentarg pushing forward, looking for a trade. Zealots dying here initially. The Observer is alive. Now the Guardian's gonna have to play defense. Nice scoop up to keep the Reavers alive. Zergling, oh wow, Lurkers coming from the rear. The Guardian's still not engaging that. Looks like the Lurker line is going to get cleared up by Dentarg fairly quickly. He's behind in supply, but doing well with what he's got. Nice Sidestorm on that initial grouping of Guardians. They're effective, but they're slow, and the Sidestorm, what can make that cost inefficient here for Pauline. Dentarg looks like he's going to bust the space with what is happening currently. And that is a good start. Good start. Is the Plague gonna drop here from the Defiler? It doesn't look like it. So base gone, more Zerglings starting to field out. Dentarg has managed to get a supply lead for the first time in what feels like all match. Pauline checking top left just in case. Is he gonna go for another counterattack at the 9? 8 o'clock position would have been a better engagement point. Zerglings filtering in. The Reavers are not babysat, and so they're going to get picked off. Shows you how effective Zerglings are here at the late stages. Lurkers, Defilers making their way up. With Plague, they can soften things up and maybe bust through, but we've got a lot of Sidestorm and a lot of Reaver Splash. It looks like he's not going to attempt it. He's going to draw back. The Dragoons are going to get wiped out in the back corner. We have some Scourge left, but nothing else. Swarm and some Lurkers here might be able to regather and maybe get some damage done. Enough Psystorm, gonna clear that out. Looking for a Plague in the midst of this. Pauline on the map, on the prowl. Again, Dentarg's doing a really good job of trading effectively, but he's still got a very uphill battle. I don't know that there's any Psystorm left, and without Reavers here in position, the Zerglings once again going to be able to take out this 8 o'clock position. This has been an absolute soft spot for Dentarg, and Dentarg recognizing he was not going to hold that, and that he was facing an opponent with an immense mineral bank. Gonna GG right there. So Pauline takes it with his macro Zerg, will advance to the round of 8. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.